But I mean, it was like there was times when I was running the guilds, you know, I was like running some of the best guilds in the world. And like this is something that like such ancient history that I don't even really remember it anymore. It's like 13 years ago. But these fucking boomers stand around and talk about it like it was yesterday and shit. Lord deliver me from 2004. I can't go back to this. And they talk about buying gotcha girls instead of like dating your wife or whatever the fuck. I just can't fucking relate to that. I worked 80-hour fucking week. I think they joke about it and they make fun about it and they show all the soda cups and everything. But I'm not really sure. I don't think they were rolling in the deep scene. I think they were too young. I think that shit was beyond their time. I think they would have been hitting 16 right about when Wrath of the Lich King hit, heroic Lich King, and they would have been too young. I was like 20 something, 23 maybe. I don't know what it was. I don't remember. So, you know, I don't know what it was like. So, but still. Like there's a difference, you know. There was always a bigger fish. When we reached heroic Lich King, we realized the method had been there for 2 months. Like I mean, it was like, we were like fuck, we thought we were in the running for that. No, like 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago or something, they took that at like 2 in the morning because they're all European and it just shuts everybody out of the fucking race, which is something I could just never abide anyways. Like getting shut out of the race is something that I don't want in video games. I believe it should be like Fortnite with the battle royale, where anybody on that island can take the crown, can take the Method Perseverance crown. Just like me, I feel like I could have taken the Method Perseverance crown had I cared to go do it. I had 500 like fucking Australians calling me legendary in 2009. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm dead serious about this too. I'm not kidding. I can dig these people up. Some of them still write me. It's not like I can pull the conversation and have them physically fucking verify it for me and with like pictures and shit. This isn't some fucking fantasy. So, like, so now I look at this and I'm like, man, why are you still talking about this? The last time that I fucking cared about those bullshit gameplay loops was like Christmas 2010. Lord deliver me from Christmas 2010. No thank you. No, like NFTs, no fucking thanks. Like, like Skill Up says about NFTs, no fucking thank you. Or member berries from South Park and shit, no fucking thank you. I don't want to go back to the age of Jar Jar. I really don't. I know you do, because that was the last time you got laid, but I didn't have a life like that. Sorry. That's all the vitriol you get.
It's certainly a vibe.
So there's all kinds of cool signs. So I saw an interesting study recently that people tested different cognitive domains and cognitive flexibility. So it's not like attention or focus or memory. Cognitive flexibility is the only thing that correlates with rank in League of Legends. So the more cognitively flexible you are, the better you. Like there's like they've done studies.
So like if you can think in different types of like paradigms.
Yeah. So if you kind of like just a simple example, right? So if y'all are not challenger tier, chances are it's because of your teammates, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. And
guys suck.
Right?
That's what you were saying.
So you just,
of course.
you just get stuck, right? So if I'm playing a game and I lose, it's because my lose jungler or whatever the position is in League of Legends.
Yeah.
Right? So they didn't gank the lane and their enemy jungler ganked me and our jungler didn't do anything. So in that moment you get locked into this particular idea, right? And like this is the real tragedy if you play games, at least I'm like this now, I didn't used to be.
Yeah.
I used to get better at games, I don't anymore.
No.
I just get worse, right? So
Yeah.
like I'll play a game like I've played like probably 1,300 hours of Dota and 1,500 hours, and like my rank just steadily goes down.
Yep.
And most people like who play games like we just kind of suck, and we're not going to get better, and it's because we're not cognitively flexible about why we win or we lose, right? We don't think about it critically. We just queue up again.
Do you think that there's any?
I constantly cognitively balance what's going on the battlefield. I was a raid leader. It's impossible for me to duel you 1v1 when I'm the inevitable IGL. I'm always the IGL. It drives me fucking crazy. I'm the worst player there. I'm the raid leader. I fucking suck. I was the healer and the raid leader. Those are roles that don't require that much skill. The raid leader does, but not the healer. Healer is just running rotation and knowing when the damage is going to spike. It's really not too hard. hard, especially if you're actually talented at it like me. So like I've never thought of healing as ever being hard. To me, it's like lol easy. It's so fucking easy. It's not like if you don't kill if you don't kill the target, you die. It's more like if your target reaches 0 health, you die. So you're constantly just pumping. It's almost like this sex thing where you're just pumping it full of your semen, trying to keep the object up and alive. I love healing. It's just like prop them up, keep them in there. It's my favorite thing in the world to do. I like it just as much as pussy, money, and weed. And I know that's sexist. I'm sorry. I didn't write the song. That's a Lil Wayne lyric. And so now, like, and so on top of it, I'm leading Heroic Ragnaros, which I don't know if you guys have ever seen something like that, or Halfus, or fucking, you know, fucking Heroic Lich King, or Lis Razor, or Fang, like Major Domo, or whatever the fuck. There was this point where everybody around me began to realize that I was the new John. This is something only my friend Bagon can relate to, but there was this point where everyone around me, except for Bagon, because I would have made Bagon leader, frankly, like everyone around me except Bagon bowed to my greater knowledge of the game. Everyone around me. They all eventually venerated me up to guild master or raid leader or whatever the fuck it was. It happened to my Rust clan. It doesn't matter. Even though I'm not even a 10th of skilled as those people, I am cognitively all over that fucking map. I'm the one talking about, why didn't you lower the sniper roost so the M2 couldn't hit our fucking sniper? Why did we lose this 15v3? Is because you cut the sniper window too fucking high. They're thinking about pushing the doors and what rockets are going out right now. I'm thinking about the M2 on the fucking roof and how we can't control him. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. I'm thinking about the Widow. You guys are thinking about killing that tank. That's it. Like, I watch them turn off their brains just like me, and I love it. But see, the difference is I'm still thinking the thoughts in the background. I know the Widow's about to shoot me in the head. I know that the fucking lamp is going out for the tank. And until I can watch all that stuff without thinking, I don't think I'm good at the game. And there's only about 5 games in the fucking world that I would say I'm actually even at a 50% level on, and none of them are the ones that other people play. Like, for instance, I'm definitely in the top 50% for Final Fantasy XI. I'm definitely in the top 50% for World of Warcraft. I'm definitely in the top 50% for Rust, and I'm definitely in the top 50% for EVE Online. Well, no. No. That's just not true. I have more skill points than a lot of people in EVE Online, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I've never taken it anywhere. EVE Online was always the daunting one for me because it's so fucking slow. It reminds me of meditation. It's literally like meditation. I can't stand meditation either. I love EVE Online. It's my favorite game, pretty much. You know, besides Final Fantasy XI. But, like, it's still so slow. It's like watching fucking paint dry. And anybody who's ever met me will understand I'm an antsy motherfucker. It's not like I'm trying to get you out that door. I'm not rude. I'm just an antsy motherfucker. I don't like sitting still. Never have, never will. Watch me shut down this fucking mic and keep on moving with the stream right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm always moving forward. Always. I can't stop. I'm like a shark. I'll die of oxygen deprivation if I don't keep swimming forward. It's like that for me. I can't sit in town. I can't sit around a raid waiting for some kid to show up. I can't tell kids what to do because I don't think they're any better or worse than me. I don't think, honestly, I don't think they think as much as I do. I don't think they think about the cognitive stuff. Like, what's going to happen if we don't shut out that fucking Zarya that just reached ult? What's going to happen? Now, you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about the Widow who's shooting you in the face. Yeah, I get it. But the problem is the grab's going out whether or not you like it. The grab's going out. XQC would understand. The grab's going out, whether you like it or not. It's not like you can will it not to happen, which is one of the reasons. Like, I got a lot of flack with somebody who I ended up really disliking in the end because he didn't like the way the XQC spoke. But see, only a bad would think that, and especially a gamer. Only a bad who, especially somebody who's good at CS:GO too. Only a bad would think this, and I'll tell you why. Right? in Overwatch, you just don't have the time to talk. And this is true of every game. You don't have the fucking time to talk in Tarkov. You don't have the fucking time to talk in Rust. You're talking like this. He's over there. 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 Left. Dead. And yet you guys pretend that you want to act like that when you play video games and shit. But it's different when you're actually up above Plat or Diamond or whatever fantasy challenger thing you're dreaming of that I surpassed like 5 years ago or whatever. When you're actually up in Plat or higher, you know the grab's going out, and if you don't do something, you're fucked. You lost that match. And so this is this is why I get so mad. So he's going to talk about how you get so mad because your team sucks. Yeah, they don't cognitively think at all. One of the things I loved about Bagon is he definitely would have been the best raid leader out of that entire fucking group. He venerated John for some fucking reason, just because John was like 15 years older than him. But like honestly, John and Mike weren't very good at the game. They really weren't. They weren't good at a game like Bagon, and they didn't know the fights like Bagon. They really didn't. They were better at leadership, and they were older, and they were definitely more charismatic than Bagon. But they weren't as good as Bagon, and I hope he sees this one day. I doubt he'll ever catch this video. I'd have to point it out to him, but I'm still going to love my friend and show my love for him by saying that I knew who the real skilled person was there. This is my actual job. This is what I do. I go through life looking for the diamonds in the rough, the motherfuckers that are still going to be standing 20 years later because they just don't make dumb fucking choices. They don't treat people badly, and they don't fuck up all the time. And if they do, they admit the mistake, they learn from it. They say, hey, I need help watching for this and this behavior and stuff. I'm obviously weak to the Reaper. I can't seem to fight him. He's better than me. He's better than me. Like I got trolled the last time I played with my Rust clan because they were like, push him. And I was like, motherfucker, don't you ever tell me what to do. Don't you ever tell me what to do. And the second part was, I told them right to their face, I said, I'm not pushing his ass. And they were like, why? Push him. And I was like, I am not pushing this guy. And they were like, why? Because he's better than me. Right now, if I stand here and I guard the choke, my whole team's going to get their shit on and come on over here and storm in there. Your ass can get shot in the fucking face when you enter him. But I'm a fucking streamer. I'm 40 years old. I stopped doing point pushes like fucking 15 years ago when I aged out. You guys have 7 years or more of that coming still. I aged out of that shit like 10 fucking years ago, like the military. And I don't lead frontal fucking pushes. I'm usually the IGL. You know what I'm saying? I'm usually the IGL in whatever the fuck game it is, whether they want to recognize it, whether they want to understand it, whether they want to fucking show the love or whatever the fuck. I'm usually the IGL, have been for 20 fucking years. I'm the paterfamilias. I run this bitch. You understand me? And if I don't, the motherfucker that I put in and delegate instead of me is better at it than me. Otherwise, I can't. Otherwise, I have to. You know, I have to lead the motherfucker, which is what actually usually happens too. It's so annoying. So I beg people who actually have the skill, like Bagon, to actually care enough to keep their brains clear, to not be myopic, to not stand in fire, to not be stupid, to not get headshot on the fucking peak, to not push in, get headshot, and lose the engagement over the greed of a kill, rather than holding a fucking corner, acknowledging that the guy is better than you, telling the team to hurry their fucking asses up, you've got the choke, he can't leave, killing him, taking all the fucking loot and leaving. That shit's on stream if you want to fucking see it. The last time I played with my clan, and when I said, they asked me why, they were like, come on, Cat, push him. And I was like, nope. And they were like, why? I was like, come on, guys, he's better than me. And I don't like saying that, but see, I don't play Rust all fucking day, do I? I didn't sit on Rust for 7 years like Tay. I did not do that. So when I see somebody, this is the cognitive shit working. It's different. They used to call it game sense, but I don't think sense is anything you can say about the new generation. They're press W. That's it. That's all they do. They press W and don't think. So constantly I'm killing them. I kill them all the time because they'll just run in like starving. I'm almost gonna be racist here, so I'm just not gonna say what I'm gonna say. But they come running in like the starving, hysterical fucking masses, pressing W, not thinking about their peaks, not thinking about their exits or entrances or egresses. When I taught my Rust clan, I used to talk about ABEs, ABCs, ABDs, ABFs, or whatever. Always be fighting, always be ABMs, always be moving, always be ABTE, always be thinking exit, always be thinking entrance, ABTEs, right? I was like, these are weird shit things, but you should be thinking about the fucking processes in your mind. You should be thinking about them in bullet points. Did you think about your exit? Did you light up? What grubs heard you? What are the affiliations of the grubs that heard you? Who are they going to bring down on you? What are they armed with? Who's the sniper in the Belfry Tower? Is he good? How many hours would you say he has? All this other shit that you just don't have fucking time to say. So we end up talking like XQC all the fucking time. I'll talk really fucking fast in the chat. I'll say it really fast. Your win-loss ratio is directly proportional to how fucking toxic you are to your team in the fucking heat of the moment. People don't like how XQC talks, but see, I understand it. I've actually been up there. You haven't. You think you are, but you aren't. Like what Blizzard said, you think you do, but you don't. Fucking assholes, right? But I'll tell you something that is true. You think you are, but you aren't, or you wouldn't be asking the questions and acting like that and pressing W and getting shot in the face on the peak. You know, you just wouldn't even be doing that. My friend Dino doesn't play like that. Tay doesn't play like that. They knew I had the engagement. I could win it. He was strapped out. He couldn't win it. But see, he was better than me. I could wait for them and get the 110% win with no doubt. Or I can run in there, get shot in the head, provide him a kit, he kills the next guy, and then suddenly he's back in the fight. So do I, and honestly, they questioned me on it, and Dino was like, Jesus Christ, Cat, you just literally said on a stream full of 20 people that guy was better than you. He didn't say it, but I knew it was what he thought, right? And I tripped on this for a couple minutes. I tripped on it for a couple of days, and then I was like, no. Nope. My Tarkov friends, my Rainbow Six team, my in real life buddies that I used to shoot shotguns and rifles and pistols and shit, they would have been like, no, you do not go down that hallway. Nope, you have won this engagement. If you sit there and guard the choke, that's it. It doesn't matter. You can sit there for 12 fucking hours. The press W generation is going in that hole and throwing it all away, just like their fucking CSGO gambling streams. They're just going to throw it all away. I don't like the press W gambling idiots. I'm sorry, but I don't. I think you should think more about critical choices, critical thinking. What are you doing with your life right now? Are you committing a lot of felonies and leaving paper trails? Are you stalking somebody? Are you harassing a woman? Are you acting crazy? Have you watched too much porn in the last 5 years? Etc. Is it healthy for you? Have you eaten well in the last year? Do you have any money at all? And if you do, where did it come from? Was it what you're doing? All these other weird things about this. And now kids are not expected to think this. And I'm talking about something simpler. I'm not trying to be so hard on the kids, but understand me. If you want to be the true custodian masters of this fucking world, those thoughts must be in your head. And the ones that do think are the ones that I keep around, which is why I have no one here. Got my best friend, and that's about it. The only person that I can think of that thinks first beyond Bagon is my friend Cloud Candy. Cloud Candy will she'll press W and she'll fuck you up. She's better than you. She's better than me. But like, she won't do that unless she's fucking certain. And I'm the exact same way. I will not fucking engage. I will not do it. Like right now, I got this motherfucker. Let's see. Wait 5 minutes and win no matter what. Or this is that whole delayed gratification thing. Or take the gamble and push the choke and prove I've got the big dick in this situation. Except you guys forget how many motherfuckers in Rust just switch on the aimbot the minute it actually matters. So I go in there and I take your gamble like your clan advising me to do. But no, it turns out he turned on the aimbot while I made him sit in there for 5 minutes. So when I come in there and I fire my first peek shot at him because I know where he is, he's already sprayed me in the head 4 times and he doesn't even have to aim, you know? This is how they play too, and that's that game sense. Then you get these kids arguing with me. They're not cheating. They're not cheating. Oh yeah, go consult the 100,000 cheating videos about Rust on YouTube video and tell me that they're not cheating. And that's all I have to say about this. I came full circle. I'm done.
Logic in the fact that kids that are 13 that are playing Fortnite don't have to think about a mortgage, taxes, health insurance, or anything else, and all they have to do is think about building that little house in Fortnite and shooting you. Do you actually think that has any validity? That like a more clear mind, because kids
100%.
aren't. Okay, so it's not my fault then.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
Right. Yeah, I thought so.
These fucking kids.
I mean,
ruining my
but
video
so
game.
that's the kind of thing where it's like maybe you should be a little bit cognitively flexible there.
Yeah,
Is
yeah, a
You,
little bit.
you ask the question in a way that's going to evoke a particular response, right?
Uh-huh.
And so you're looking for someone to reinforce what you already believe.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to do that.
100%.
Yeah, like the challenge that I made is like, okay, kids, step up and start showing me some game sense. Because the way you press W on Overwatch, I embarrass them every time. They'll step to me on Moira with that press W shit. Like I don't have fucking 6,000 hours, and I don't care who it is. It could be a Widow, it could be a Reinhardt, anybody in the fucking game. Farah, I don't care who it is. I will stomp you the fuck in. Don't care if you're top 500 or whatever the fuck. If it's a 1v1 and I want it, I will stomp you in because it's my job not to lose 1v1s. It's not your job. Your job is to press W and kill me. My job is to win 1v1s on Moira or my team loses. So who do you think's going to win that? The guy who's cognitively flexing, thinking DPS, heals, tanks, positioning, snipes, and all that other shit, or the press W monkey that's currently... we used to call them in Fortnite. I hated them so much. They're press W monkeys. I didn't really know what else to call it. But they're monkeys to me because they jump all the time with a shotgun like Ninja. Ninja taught them the fucking shotgun meta, and I hate it. They'll be jumping around you with some fucking shotgun like that's got some kind of basis in reality. And I used to go, oh, sorry guys, shotgun monkey, and I would just put the controller down. You know, because at that point, like, or whatever, you know, because it's a mouse guy, you know, shotgun monkeying me with a shockwave grenade, point blank, while he's moving essentially maybe about half the speed of sound or something like that. You can see it when Ninja quits, you know, the guy fucking flies into the air and just disappears and shit. Like, I mean, it sucks, but like that's the actual reality. Now, I don't see why. This is why I like a little bit slower, like World of Warcraft or New World is actually about the right pace, I would say. I like Souls-likes a lot because they move at about the speed that battle should. You have your time to see a tank coming. You don't get shot in the fucking head from the Widow the second you try to go observe the battlefield because she's got a way to see through walls like some kind of veritable fucking hacker. And sure, I've got unresolved Overwatch skills, but this is true of any game, like unresolved Overwatch issues, but this is true of any game. Rust, you're gonna get pegged by an L9 from some fucking belfry 2 blocks over, some third party that has nothing the fuck to do with you. Just sadistic motherfucker that saw you getting in an AK fight with 2 guys, you kill 2 of them, he knows you're at 12 health, so he takes the L9, and then he takes all 3 of your kits. This is how life actually works. And so you can press W all the fucking time, right into that chokehold and lose that entire raid like you guys advised me to. But honestly, I can't do that. I'm sorry, there's nothing in the game sense that would dictate that I would give my advantage away to somebody on a negligible duel over some kind of pissing match with somebody I don't know. Throw away a clan push, embarrass. There was 4 of us there was 4 of us there that day. It was wonderful. It was me and Tay and Dino and fucking Isaiah, and it was great. I loved playing with those boys. I've always loved playing with those boys, and we get along just great. We like peas and carrots when we come back together again if there's some stream sniper and shit. But I'm gonna just say, like, in the end, I got the kills in that last raid that mattered, and that they were the ones who walked away disgusted when I said very clearly to 24 fucking people. One day it might be 24,000, 240,000, or 24 million. Who the fuck knows? But one day it might be like 20 million people, and I informed 20 fucking million people that I'm not pressing W, and I'm not giving up our fucking advantage here, and I'm not going into a 1v1 with an unknown fucking like factor of somebody who's already beaten me once before, and on the assumption that I'm gonna win somehow on your press W fucking no cognitive association like press W vibes. And sure, there's a time to push, and honestly, I'm actually, you'd be surprised, in a real RBG situation or Fortnite situation, I'm actually more bloodthirsty than most of the people I know. I'm like, push, let's go. And they're like, dude, we just killed someone, let's go. You know, they're like, literally, I'm like, let's go. I'm actually like more greedy than you. I'm more press W than you. But throwing away my fucking cognitive fucking abilities to get into some high stress situation on a fucking gamble is just not my fucking style and never has been. And I don't know why you would venerate that shit in the first fucking place. I don't care how fast you can shotgun monkey somebody. That would never apply to real life. I don't feel shame when I die to it. I think, clever use of game mechanics. You know, we used to call it something way nastier. Cloud Candy would probably titter at that one. We used to call it a clever use of blank mechanics, and I won't say what, but
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
And the reason that you're losing to kids in Fortnite is because they don't have to play Mortgage. That's what it comes down to.
Oh, okay. I knew it. Yeah, I knew it was my fault. Okay, great. Scientifically proven, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I see a lot of the games, and I am the same way. Like, I will play a game, and I will raid the boss, hog shit the boss for like 3 or 4 hours. Wake up the next morning, first place. It's not even.
That's legit. So for example, so like everything that we know about how to
Like I recently left Horizon, the Final Fantasy 11 private server, like last year around Christmas or something like that, or spring, I think. And this was over a fucking tiff I had with some fucking rando. But the problem was he pressed W'd Promi Mia boss on Horizon 3 weeks after launch or something like that. And we all knew it was an unknown factor and that not that many people on the server had done it yet, and nobody knew what the bugs were and all this shit. And I'm there trying to read this. It has been 4.5 hours because it's Final Fantasy 11 and they're all bored, and one of them's AFK and the other one's getting her daughter aspirin or something like that. The other guy wants to pull, but the tank's getting her daughter aspirin, and I'm the only one even paying attention enough to tell him to wait. And they're all like itching for it, and they're pressing W, and they're sick of fucking standing there. Okay, if you can't handle standing in Promi Dem long enough for the tank to get back from the convenience store, don't play fucking Final Fantasy 11. That's what I said to him too. I proceeded when he trolled me. He posted a picture, and he was like, "Here's us dying in Promi Dem because the fucking white mage didn't have re-raise." And I was like, nah, motherfucker, you sat on the ads for 25 minutes and ran through 2.5 divine seals and 1,200 fucking mana, and you lost the fight, and the boss was at 2% health. And if you're dying like that, it's because you're on this is what happened too. I have the stream. He was on the ads for 25 fucking minutes. It had just never occurred to me to actually look. I was healing as a white mage. It didn't occur to me that he might be sitting on the fucking ads for 25 whole fucking minutes, and it's excruciatingly true. The next day I cited the video, I cussed him out in the fucking Discord like some angry pissant fucking boomer, like I lost all my goddamn common sense. I erased all that, I ghosted, I said peace Horizon, and I left. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, it's more about posting the photo to piss off some fucking streamer than your idiot ass sitting on fucking ads for 25 fucking minutes. When have you ever in any MMO RPG ever been able to sit on boss ads for 25 fucking minutes? And you think I'm being exaggerational, but I'm not. I ran through what's called 2 divine seals. I'm not stupid. I'm one of the best Final Fantasy players in the fucking world. I don't wipe to Promi Dem, but that scrub does. Cost like 6 people fucking 2 hours or something like that. I was so fucking pissed. I was like, I'm never doing this again. If these shithead like boomers who only sat on Final Fantasy fucking 11 and never learned like the lesson that how toxic you are to your team in the heat of the moment is directly proportional to your win-loss ratio and shit. But I mean, here's the proof, man. I ran through 2.5 divine seals at a 10-minute cooldown each. This doubles one of your heals, right? And I needed it, and I was begging for the third one, but by the third one you lose the 30-minute encounter. It's a timed encounter. So at 24 minutes and 32 seconds, I began to be aware of what was actually happening. The idiot him and his friends sat on the fucking ads for 22 minutes and didn't tell us. They thought the job was to clear the fucking ads. Yeah, sure, in some fights, but I mean, that boss was at 2% health. Why would you be killing the fucking ads? They let the boss sit at 6% health for 8 minutes, and then he bombs me with a picture in the Discord, and I was like, no. I will never engage with this kind of behavior ever again. I will never be around it again. I will not watch these shitty boombalatti, fatty boombalatti, shitty boomers talk shit to me while I link and describe as a raid leader exactly to the second when you done fucked up, and I embarrassed him in front of 7,000 fucking people. And I was like, here's where you're still on the ads at minute 24 minutes and 27 seconds. We wipe. and I'm on my way to my 3rd Divine Seal. Most people finish this in 13 minutes. You took it to 24, 35, or whatever the fuck it was. It died bitterly, still trying to kill one of the 7 ads that were still up and a boss that was at 6%. And I said it all, and I embarrassed him, and I said, fuck you, fuck Horizon, fuck anybody who would act like this, and it's not just him. It's like an entire generation of them now. They believe that because they're 40, like me, that they know better, like me. But see, the difference is, like, I was trying to lead the raid, they were trying to press W, and that's all I'm trying to say. That press W shit, all gas, no brakes. Remember Andrew Callahan? When he talks about the fall of society and covers it in real time and shit, what did Andrew Callahan name his goddamn channel? All gas, no brakes. Channel 5, bitch. All gas, no brakes. Now, I mean, he changed it to Channel 5 because the name All Gas, No Brakes was commentary about this generation. But I mean, it's the dumbification of America. All gas, no brakes, press W, don't think first, just collect the money somehow. It doesn't matter if you fail, you're not going to collect $200, you're just going to go to jail. You don't get to win Park Place or whatever. And hey, if we die, we can just re-roll, we can just roll again in 5 seconds because it's Fortnite. But any other game with actual consequences, like most MMOs or like a Souls-like or something like that, if you throw away 45 fucking minutes on a press W moment, what are you thinking? Are you thinking I'm a skilled player? No, you're thinking, Jesus Christ, why did I get so fucking greedy and throw away 45 fucking minutes of my time? And I see it all the time. They were urging me to do it in that last raid, and I was like, I can't roll with these kids anymore. The sense was just not there. Like, we had the engagement. I killed his friend. I got the kill that mattered. And I went to go sweep up the other guy, and I realized if I go in there, he's liable to fucking aimbot me. It's the whole thing it stank of aimbot. I was like, he's liable to aimbot me. He wants me to come in there. If he didn't, he would have come out and killed me while I was killing his friends. He wants me to come in there so he can troll me on some Discord or something like that. I'm not fucking stupid. So sure, I just sat there for 2.5 minutes, and then, when he made his play, I killed his ass. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot. He can't win, and when I'm in the choke and he's not, he can't win. There's no peek. He's got to come through my field of fire before he can fire at me. I'm gonna kill his ass. That's the guaranteed win. That's how SWAT plays it. That's how the army plays it. Nobody presses W, all gas, no brakes, in almost any reality. Almost all of humanity is mainly about, like, the only time you'll ever see that is weird gambling culture, weird drug culture, and weird sex culture. Almost all of the rest of humanity is mostly about careful, calculated logic. Logic, guys. I know it sounds like a foreign concept or whatever, but it's logic. So, I've been feeling bad. Like, I haven't been talking enough on my stream, so I did quite a lot of talking tonight that I wasn't supposed to do, so I'm gonna stop here. But this is how I feel about this. I watched them, and it's not some mistake of youth. I think a lot of boomers would say, hey, you're being too harsh on the kids. No. Like, okay, some of these kids have 5,000-6,000 hours. They know better.
The study efficiently also works for playing games. So I'll ask all questions. Do you do better the first time you fight a boss compared to the second?
Yes. Yep. Yes, every single time.
Right?
Yep. The minute I get entrenched, the minute that I think that I have to fit some sort of pattern, I immediately begin to lose. So, like, you'll notice one of the things I do in shooters, and I'll point this out so you can see me do it. A lot of people think I'm bad when I play, but see, I still win the engagements and I win the 1v1s and stuff. And they'll be like, Jesus, look at the way you move. You're just standing still and you're begging to get shot in the fucking head. Please move, cat. And all this. But no, there's a reason for that. It invites the fire. I can hear the gun. If they're firing at me, I'm moving then, but I'm listening for gunfire at me. It lights them up. The shot isn't going to hit me in the head if I'm fast enough. It's not going to do it. Not if I have a clue of where he is. If he's closer to me, it might. But if he's far away on some roost on that cliff across the way, I can stand here and let him take his shot and move out of the path of the fire. I watch people do it all day, and I got really good at it myself. I can get out of the range of that bullet most of the time, unless it's like an L9 from 110 meters or something like that. That bullet's going to hit you. But if they're like 135 or 140, it's going to be about, a quarter of a second for that bullet to actually reach you, which is long enough for you to move your dome out of the way. Maybe you catch a shoulder shot, or it entirely misses you, right? It catches you in the shoulder most of the time. So, like, you would never play like that. You would never act like that in real life. But unfortunately, video games do make us act like that. It's one of the reasons why I like Rust and Tarkov so much. Is it makes you not act like that. You know, you don't act like that. You don't take chances with your life in a survival situation, hoping the sniper doesn't hit you. You just don't go out in front of the fucking sniper if your life's at stake. And this, you know, we saw this with Enemy at the Gates or Saving Private Ryan or any of that other stuff. You don't go running out in front of a fucking sniper. We saw what happened to the men in the war who didn't go for cover. It's like my favorite quote of all time. I saw what happened to the men in the war who didn't go for cover, you know, so I went for cover. You know, that's like a Law and Order quote, I think, from Renee Balser, I think. But anyways, the game sense is important. So then, and then another thing that I do is they all do this rhythmic left and right. I call it the monkey dance, right? They do this dodge, right? They do this like diagonal dodge because the chances of you getting domed is a lot less if you're constantly moving and getting your head moving around. So yeah, they're moving well. They're moving like ninja. They're moving their head out of the fucking way. The problem is this makes you incredibly fucking predictable. So you know what I do? And I get away with this. I'll pwn grandmasters all day doing this shit. They're so used to this fucking dance. They're so used to it that they don't miss, right? But the minute that you just do this, they do miss a lot. Their tracking is never that good because they're used to this. They're used to pegging you on these tight shots. The reason people do shit like this, right, is they're trying to get enough accuracy on their recoil pattern on their crosshair that they can fire at the guy and still get their kill, but still be moving when he makes his shot, right? This is why they do that weird weaving dance where they're like crouching and shit. And they're doing shit like this. You know, I got very good at it myself. You know, I'm pretty good at dodging fucking bullets like Matrix in the real fucking time I need to in my job as a healer to be able to dodge bullets all the time. So like I like dodge bullets all the fucking time. I can hear them fired and I can see them coming and I get the fuck out of the way. I saw what happened in the war to the people who didn't get out of the way. So now, like, I didn't go to war. I'm quoting Law and Order. Sorry. You know, so this thing. So, but the problem is, this makes you extremely predictable, and so do jumps. If you're jumping around like this, when you are in your bottom apex, falling out of the jump, you are a dead target. You have been shot by the sniper, and he has won that match. If you are jumping around like this, and you bring your head predictably downward pattern, that is extremely easy for a gamer shooter to kill you. If your head is predictably falling, they will put a bullet where your head's gonna be before you even touch the ground, right? So I just stopped fucking around with that, and I suggest you guys do this too. I stopped doing all gas, no brakes shit like this, right? All gas, no brakes. Gotta keep moving. All gas, no brakes. I stand there, and I watch, and I scan my camera looking for targets and stuff, and I look for pixels to move, and I invite them to take a shot, and if they do, I'm moving. Just like that, and I stop again in hopes that they fire again. And this is for another reason. I'm trying to get them to unload their mags so I can actually take a shot at them, right? And then finally, right, if I'm really like about to die, I start running in one direction like this, and they constantly miss me, and they're like, what the fuck? That is the easiest target to kill, and I whiffed 39 shots because he just kept running. He wants me to do this, right? Because every fucking cookie cutter asshole FPS shooter idiot does this all day. You see it all day. They're like weird, fidgety, all gas, no brakes, shotgun monkeys going blah, 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 all day. I got so, it brings a distaste to my mouth even speaking on it. It makes them so predictable. It's like watching everybody pick up a slap bracelet or like the fidget spinner. It's so predictable. When the fidget spinner hit, we all knew the entire fucking world was gonna buy one, and it was just like a feeding frenzy. It's exactly like that. It's that same culture. You knew they were gonna predictably act like that, and shooters use this to your advantage, especially good shooters like Tarkov and Rust. So now, like, you know, so now I just don't even fuck with that anymore. I see how well I do with just running in one direction, and you'd be fucking surprised. They're like, what the fuck? This guy is not crouching. He's not sprinting. He's just moving in one direction, and I'm whiffing every fucking shot because he won't stop. right? They really want you to stop so they can make the predictable shot of your head when you tilt the other direction, and your speed inevitably drops while you change. Like, see how notice there's like a little bit of a combat animation delay here when I go left, right? And like, so now, you know, this reality is such that, like, you know, you can't be predictable anymore. You can't do that all gas no brakes shit. They're not that bad anymore. They're all like 15 to 17 now. They're not like, you know, they're not bad. They're like they're not, I mean, they're bad if they're playing cookie cutter like that, and they're used to shotgun monkeys moving like this all the time. They're gonna kill you if you do this. But trust me, you'd be surprised how often I trick out people 3-4 times as skilled as me, because they're bullshit, all gas, no brakes, like fucking no thinking, no logic, no game sense, push forward, spray the guy, triple him, whatever the fuck, win the engagement thing, makes them so predictably bad that you can just basically run psyop games on them with your left stick while you jack off with your right hand in stream, and he's missing every shot, and the guy's a plat or higher, or he's been to top 500 before, and he's missing every shot, and it's shaking his ego, is fucking making him mad. You're jacking off, and he can tell. You're not even worried about shooting at him. You're just dodging every single fucking bullet, and it's the most predictable movement in the history of first-person shooters. See it? But see, it's not the movement that they see 9 out of 10 times, which is this shit. See it? I need to stay within a 3 feet period, 3 feet, you know, little 3 feet space, so I can stop moving, aim down sight, and kill you, right? It's really hard to land a shot if you're moving in this kind of momentum. You got to wait for your motion to arrest. See it? You got to face forward, which is often the problem with it. You got to, like, you know, you got to ADS, and you got to fire, right? But I mean, like, so that it's a lot harder to make your killing shot when you're making moves like this. But I still out-juked the 4K kid, even at the, you know, at the highest rating I've ever been at 3115. I'll out-juke the 4K kid because he's so sadly, laughably press W fucking predictable that just tilting your stick or pressing the D key for like 10 seconds will get you out of most engagements with people who are 10 times as skilled as you. And when you start to learn tricks like this, you begin to realize that, wow, they don't have an original thought in their fucking head. They're just pressing W. And if I were to say maybe move behind this cliff, right? Sorry, it's really bad tactics in this game, but like, or sorry, not bad, but you know, it's bad example in this game. But so let's say this guy's shooting down this apex here from that mountain over there, right? Like Rust. And I'm using the apex, and I'm moving, and I'm doing my little slap and jukes, like while I'm trying to get a beat on him from over here. And he's probably hitting me too, because this is easy to hit. But if I'm doing this, I have enough time to observe what he's doing, where he is. He can't land the shot because I'm not making a predictable stop motion where he can land the headshot and end me. And if I do, I don't do it in a predictable way. I'm doing it like this. See it? It's like the timing is not. But I will continue to. Sometimes I'll ditch out, you know, and that cognitive like freedom of understanding that every engagement can be played like a fucking chess match with 265 different variations on just the move that you're in, right? Like, I could push him by climbing the mountain, or I could loop around left and flank him, etc. And I'm already thinking thoughts like that on an invisible target. I posit that most of the people that I fight in that age bracket, from like 13 to 23, they're pressing W like this. Right like this too. This is the fastest way that they can get to you. They just come straight at you like this. It's insane. And it makes them so laughably predictable. Now, I'm not skilled enough to I'm not young or skilled enough to like sit there and want to vibe for them for the world's best, but I believe I could do it. There's a difference. I believe it. I fundamentally believe I could do it, you know? You have to believe you can do it. If you want to be like successful at this and do it your whole fucking life, you have to believe that you can kill Ninja if you need to. Like, seriously, or whatever, and search your favorite, like, alone. You have to believe that for some fucking reason, maybe, shit, it might even be that his apartment internet disconnected as you fired the headshot, and he didn't get out of the way because he was already DC'd and deadlocked, right? And, like, and then suddenly, this is why you always try, you never give up, you always, you know, you always take the shot, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That's Wayne Gretzky. one of the great Canadians. And like, you know, and you just believe that you're going to somehow beat them. If that is how I am as far as I got without any help at all. I mean, I'm getting help, but not in the daily. No. I built all of this by myself. I did not rely on a guild to get where I was at. I was easily poachable sometimes. I would hop crews. I would leave servers. I would be like, fuck this. I'm not happy with what happened today, so I'm just not with this crew anymore. See ya, love you, bye. Or okay, thanks, bye, or that kind of thing. Or whatever. And I make these like swift decisions to just move on because shit isn't looking like it's gonna come out Sky Cat. It's gonna come out their cat, you know? So then I'm like, no, if it's not gonna come out Sky Cat somehow in the end, I'm just gonna act like I'm bad and leave and cite that I'm bad. Because I am. But I don't lose that much. Don't lose those 1v1s on Overwatch that much. Don't lose Overwatch that much. Don't really lose that much. You know, I lose a lot. But I don't lose that much, where I would say I have a KDR of 1.2. Because if I'm emptying a mag, you're fucking dead. Otherwise, I'm not taking the shot. I'll do it with Moira. I will dump endless amounts of purple beam into people because it doesn't do any damage. But if it's Rust, I'm not squeezing that fucking trigger till that shot's gonna dome you, triple you, neck you, or chest you, and or provide the cover fire for me to get out of that bad situation. One of those four. Otherwise, I'm not squeezing the shot. I'd much rather walk on down the road with the kit that I still have than pressing W and getting owned by somebody who obviously does this a lot more and is a lot more dedicated to one game than me. And that's my discussion about game sense. I'm done now. I love you.
If everyone is saying yes, like we do really well. Like you get the boss down down to 20% health and then you wipe. And the second time you go in, you get like two-shotted, right?
Yeah.
That's what happens. So this is like the science of performance and all the stuff around learning. So if you, I did this with Elden Ring. I actually applied this because I didn't have 4 hours to grind.
Right.
So what I would do is I'd play a boss for maybe 20 to 40 minutes, and then I'd take a break. And then what happens, especially when you sleep, is all of your learning that happens in short-term memory actually consolidates into long.
I'm very aware of this, actually. I feel very nervous about brand new video games because I feel that in about 3 weeks of sleep, my brain will have cognified that, or whatever, codified, I believe is the word, would have codified that information in my memory banks in a way where I feel I can readily access most of the information I need to be successful in combat or farming or whatever the fuck, right? And suddenly I feel really confident about the game, but until I've had a couple of fucking weeks, I'm talking like a couple of fucking weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks of sleeping 12 hours a night, I really don't think I'm very good at any game. So I don't like new releases. I've never liked new releases. Now, 3 weeks into the new release, I feel like I've mastered the game and I'm probably playing at a higher level than most of the people are. And I do feel like this sometimes. I saw it on New World. I was done with that expansion in 12 hours. Some of those people are still not done because it's all mindset. Has nothing. I don't run from any of my engagements anymore. I used to get so mad at New World like last year where I was like, Jesus Christ, why would you link 13 fucking mobs? Now I just kill the 13 fucking mobs. If that's what it means for me to survive that engagement, I just like pretty much summon up the fucking sand to kill 13 fucking level 65 mobs. Usually I'm leashing like 7 of them, but I will kill at least 3 or 4, and I might die, but I'm gonna definitely give better than I gave, you know, because that's usually how survival works. And or I might usually get away. I'm quite good at escape art. I'm a very good escape artist. You'll see me run. Okay, a couple wipes ago, I escaped Stens and Dixie mid-raid like 6 times. They literally were blowing in my TC and Rust. I was stripped naked, waiting there like a greyhound at the fucking starting line, you know, or like a horse at the starting line. And when that last bit of explosive went off and the health reduced, I ran past them like a fucking chicken. They didn't know if I was in there. They did, but they didn't know how I was going to play it. They thought I was going to fight them. I ran naked past them like a chicken, and immediately, what am I thinking? Oh my God, I'm going to get shot in the back. No, I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking if I put 3 or 4 corners between me and these guys and duck under something, I might actually slip away. And I did. I ran out of a 6-door raid past the duo and escaped the bases against them both times. This helped me later. When I was able to do this. I believe that I could somehow just evade two armed men. Like some kind of Bruce Willis, you know? It's not like I'm an action hero or I'm trying to brag. I'm just saying I fundamentally believe that I can somehow defeat Ninja if I fucking have to, if it comes down to it. And this was something about real life too. You have to fundamentally, if you want to be a confident person, you have to fundamentally believe that you can defeat, like, I don't know, what's a good example? Jackie Chan. Now, you might have to burn down a building while he's sleeping to do that or something. Otherwise, he's going to kill you. But, I mean, there's nothing. I literally, when I was like 13, it was indelibly written into my brain in the punker scene, and we all believe this, and I still believe it. Nothing is undoable. Nothing is impossible. So this press W shit, this willful disregard of your logic and your game sense is something I just will. I'd rather be called bad and die to you with some sense of honor, decorum, and strategy than pressing W and seeing whoever triples each other first. I don't really see the value of that. Now, in some engagements, the triple beam is everything you need. But, I mean, most of the time it's everything you need. But sometimes that might not be the play. Like, screaming Sparta and kicking the guy down the hole looks cool. But I don't know, then you gotta choke 3,000 Romans, or whatever the fuck it was. You gotta choke 3,000 fucking Persian soldiers in a 300-man choke point at that point. Was it really wise to kick the man down the hole? You know, I don't know about that. So, and trust me, the press W is so amazed that the guy kicked him down the hole or whatever. But I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking, what did that diplomatically fucking cost you, you idiot? It cost you 300.
And so even when I was playing Radon and stuff,
That's all.
The Radagon.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So what I would do is, like, I'd play for like half an hour every morning, and then, like, in 4 or 5 days, I beat it. It was easy.
So
But
like
if you play for 5 hours at a stretch, you're going to lose.
Okay. All right. So that's like an actual good way of handling it. All right. That is amazing.
But the problem is that people will say that you rage quit if you do that.
Well, that's the thing is like on stream because that's my coping mechanism is like I have to take a break. Like the way that I do it, I've told Emmy about this. This is a story I've told before. Is that I will go and I get mad and I will put like 10 blankets on myself and I will make like a little nest of a nest of blankets and I will lay in the dark and I will calm down. And then I can get back up and play the game. Now, does that work very well with streaming? No, it does not.
Yeah, I think streaming is a whole different ballgame.
It is.
You can't ever take a break.
Exactly.
I genuinely feel that in 3 to 4 years, maybe even shorter, there is going to be a copious list of all the mental illnesses caused by streaming. I genuinely feel that because, like, for me, like when I go live and I can talk to thousands of people at the same time, you know, I can get that dopamine. I'm like, chat type 1. Like, screams down the chat arena. Like, now when I talk to normal people one-on-one, I don't get the same thing. And I'm just like, I find talking to real people, for the majority of people, not streamers, talking to other streamers is fine. Talking to real people is so fucking boring for me.
What are they, NPCs?
Exactly.
Oh my god.
It's bad, bro.
Streaming problem.
It's
Yeah.
Like that existed before.
No, it wasn't like that before. It was not like that. When I started streaming, like there was so much dopamine in talking to my chat. Like sometimes talking to my chat is my favorite person to talk to. I see them as an entity.
Oh my god, that's bad.
It's bad.
Well, it is.
bad.
Chat is an amalgamation of like 10,000 people, and you get to see the funniest things, right?
All the time.
So how can one normal person compete against the hive mind that is chat?
They can't.
Well, it's the other side of that though is like sometimes there's 10,000 people and it's like that one dude that says like, you know what, man, I think you kind of fell off. And it's like that's the one that people focus on, and it's like I can always tell whenever somebody's in a bad spot if they're sitting there talking about it, you know? It's bad.
Yeah, I mean, so that also, like, our brain filters out. So it's kind of interesting because if you talk to streamers, I don't know if you guys all have seen this, but this is basically what Asman just said. You know, chat is scrolling past faster than you can read it. But if someone says something negative about you, your brain literally like floats that to the surface
Son
of
of
your
a bitch.
consciousness,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So it's really interesting. And I think this is why streamers like it's a very burnout is super high because you can get like 99 people who like what you do, but all it takes is one vocal person to really like wear on you.
Right.
Human beings were not designed for that, right? We like evolved in like these tribal societies of like 300 people, where you can't. I mean, people like y'all. I mean, y'all can be hated on by 0.01%, and that's still like 10,000 people,
Yeah.
right? And we're just not designed for the hatred of like 10,000 people to ruin the brain.
What do you think the long-term effect is of that's going to be? I mean, do we know?
I mean, what is y'all's thing? At this point, I think y'all enter the long term.
Oh man. So I used to be so stressed out all of the time. And it's like if somebody toasts some shit to me, it will still annoy me, right? It's not like I'm not like, oh, I'm above this, right? It will still piss me off. But now I read it. I think that the way that the benchmark that I always used was that do I think about this comment or this statement after I get done reading it? You know, like, do I think about it after the stream or whatever? And for a long time, the answer to that was yes. Probably in the last like year or so, probably no. But it took a long time for me to get there, and I would not even say I'm close to the destination. It's just a little bit better.
What about y'all?
I've gotten pretty good at like I'll see a comment and be like, "There's just one guy who doesn't like me," and then I won't think about it. But I've also, well, how long have you been streaming?
Since 2016.
I've been streaming since about the same time, 2015, 2016. But I also had a like longer period of like chilling. Yeah, then I blew it fast. But you like have been like this for a long time, right? So I think for me, like being at the lower range for a long time helped me like prepare for like when it was bigger. Because I had like seen hate comments and stuff, but it was at a much smaller scale. I'd already accepted like that's just how it is. So then now when it's on a larger scale, I'm already used to like thinking in that way. So I think maybe for me that's why. Like there are times where it bothers me. I'm not like invincible, but I would say most of the time like stuff like that's just kind of like whatever.
Yeah, for me,
personally.
like whenever like it kind of was like that, it went up, and then like I went from getting like 8K viewers to getting like 30K, and I would sometimes like peak at like 40K viewers, like within like a month or two,
Yeah,
right? Like it
a
was that
month,
big of a
yeah.
change, and I was like, bro, like, because easy come, easy go, right? And I think that's what a lot of streamers and people worry about is like, you know, how long is it gonna last? Like it's like this now, but what if it's not like this tomorrow? You know, there's just so much
Yeah, I
uncertainty.
think every streamer's like that.
Oh,
Yeah, for me, I
Yep.
was a 1 to 2K streamer for 6 or 7 years. Then went from, yeah, then went from like 2K like to 10 to 20, and that was a lot. But what stressed me out more wasn't like the comments. It was like always like worrying that I was like gonna let people down because like people were like, oh, I see so much potential for her, and that was what stressed me out the most. Not like the hate comments.
Yeah.
But I know, like, you, with, like, what really bothers you is when people say things about you that just straight up aren't true.
Oh.
I think that's true for everybody.
Yeah, like being called like cringe annoying. I'm like, okay, well, okay. If people says, yeah, Tectone blew up my house. That's why I'll never watch his channel. But like, obviously, should not like that. But similar to it. Just
People will post, I'm not even kidding you, like Tectone and I are a lot the same, where we're loud, obnoxious assholes, and because of that, we rub a lot of people the wrong way. That's just what happens. Sometimes, at least, right? And at least, like, it's the way that you communicate, right? And in doing that, you get a lot of people that will just, like, really viscerally dislike you, and I have had people writing paragraph after paragraph of why he is the worst person in the world.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, the long-term effects, honestly, dude, like,
Yeah.
we have no idea, right? Because,
Yeah.
like, this is a new thing. We don't know what this is going to do. This is like someone has just invented the cigarette. We have no idea what. I mean, like you.
Well, hopefully it's not like that.
Let's hope.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think we're starting to see all kinds of problems. So, like,
Uh-huh.
at this point, we've worked with probably 400 content creators
Wow.
across different platforms, and we definitely see everything that y'all are describing.
Mm-hmm.
So what we discover is that content creators who survive are the ones who develop some of these interesting principles. So interesting to listen to Emmy. She's like developed this idea of like acceptance, right? So you've accepted that this is the way that it's going to be. Zach, you actually set some limits around different things. So you're like, okay, you have awareness of, okay, how do I let this comment bother me? If this comment bothers me after I read it, then I'm aware that this is like some kind of toxicity.
Yeah.
So that level of awareness will help you like protect against it.
Yeah, thinking about thinking.
And then the other thing that we see a lot with content creators that's really, really dangerous is like this idea that the sand in the hourglass is running out.
Oh yeah.
So you blow up, right? And like it's easy come, easy go. The
There you
gravy
go.
train's not going to be here forever. So I have to take advantage of it. I have to grind. When I've got 10K concurrence, I have to grind for 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's literally what I'm doing right now.
And so what happens is like y'all pay the price. I mean, I say y'all because I mean, I'm sort of a content creator, but you know, y'all pay the price in every other dimension of your life.
Sure do.
Yep. I've been grinding. I did 5 12-hour streams into a 15-hour stream yesterday. And the moment I've cut off like an hour and a half to 2 hours of sleep, and the moment I get offline, I'm like, okay, friends, talk to all of them, family, talk to all of them.
Quests.
Like
That's-
immediately.
yeah.
Like I'm just like I cannot get absorbed into this, but I also have to fucking grind. And then I'm like cats, play with them, food, eat it. And Wake Wilder, shout outs to him. He got me on a new diet plan, which has made me feel way better because I used to order all my food, but now I'm getting like pre-packaged meals, and I've lost 6 pounds in a week, which is a lot. But I'm dieting very heavily. But I feel good, and I'm trying not to let it overwhelm me, because my trick to dealing with like the copious amounts of stress and hate comments is just play with my cats. That's it. I have this little guy called Eggy. He's my best friend. He's the coolest.
It's great.
I've always I think that either I completely agree with them. They're like, this guy is the worst guy ever. I'm like, you're totally right. You know, that's it. Yep, everything bad you think about me is totally true, and that's all there is to it. And it's also like, for me, I always look at it as like I control my space and like how people talk to me, but people are going to talk about you no matter what. And it's like, it sucks to see people that say stuff that's bad about you, but at a certain point you can't control what other people do. You can't stop them from thinking something stupid. And like the worst part about it is if you prove somebody wrong on the internet, they are under no obligation to acknowledge that. Like, and so if you're trying to prove to them that like, oh, I'm right or you're wrong, what you're doing is you're giving them the power to tell you that you win, right? Because at that point, they have to say, you win, I have been convinced. But why would somebody have to do that? They have nothing to lose. So I've learned that it just doesn't matter. You're never going to convince people. Do what you want to do. Be your own North Star, because nobody else is going to lead you. That's what I think.
That's smart. I like that.
I also think it's a little bit.
Yeah, I watched like I realized that the people that hung around my channel were really good people, I think, in the end. And well, at least every one of them, but the sniper. And I feel that I think they've been conditioned to expect something from how streaming has been over the last 10 years, but that was never my vision. It was just never my vision. I was never thinking about, ooh, donations, or maybe they'll buy me Uber Eats, or maybe I can take a trip to LA or something, or maybe they'll pay for video games. It was never like that. I never was like looking for something out of it other than personal fucking validation. And I began to be increasingly aware as the first year went on that I would do anything to get it, anything. And so my reasoning was a bit different, I think, than most people's. I think most people, they're desperate for the clout and the money and the fortune and the success. I want personal validation, and I don't need anybody else for that. So I think, like, one of the nice things I can do with my career is provide a lot of free entertainment for a lot of people, and maybe catch the success that way, where I just keep it going for years on end, and I don't care if you pay me or not. I'm going to do this. I want the personal validation of knowing I did something with my life after the pariah.
Sad.
Or whatever, after the expulsion. Got expelled from my high school, got expelled from my crew, got expelled from like sobriety, and expelled from Denver, expelled from love, and it's just all this. I was just kicked out. It wasn't like I had any choice or that I mishandled almost any of it except for the drug addiction. That was it. Like, I don't believe I really mishandled a lot of that. And ooh, doggy, here we are. I'm just like, I need the world to see that I was here.
because like I think that it's unfortunate. So I think when you're talking about the long-term effects.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is the flip side is survival. Absolutely.
Yeah.
North Star sounds beautiful, but it also sounds incredibly isolating, right? Because you can't engage, and that's why I think this podcast is great because you all seem like regular humans, actually, like as we discovered.
I'll surprise you.
Yeah. But I mean, I think the other thing, just if you think about, people who get really angry at random people on the internet, I oftentimes find, because we also work with a lot of those people too, that, when someone just makes up a lot of crap about you that's super, super toxic,
Yeah.
where did they learn to do that? There's a decent chance that they were demonized in the household that they grew up in. Right?
That's true.
There's like
'Cause
something.
where do you
Yeah.
learn how to do that? Just randomly make up crap and blame someone for all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And going back to, is video game, are they a symptom of the problem? And I think it's kind of like that's what we see is that there are people out there who are vulnerable,
Right.
who weren't taught how to succeed in the regular world, right?
Yeah.
They can't hold a job, and it's not like there's anything, they're not like busted or anything. It's just I think we oftentimes take for granted how much kids are given. Like why
Yeah.
do high socioeconomic status parents lead to successful children?
I think I'm so lucky, right? And it's like, both of my parents were like college graduates. Like that's a massive, like people say you got lucky. It's like, yeah, my stream and everything like that, but there's like some core things like that that are just so tremendous that like
Yeah.
people don't even see them. It's like air.
I remember when I was working, this was back in the days when I worked in an emergency room, but there was a brilliant nurse who they'd give me the chart, right? So there's like a patient who comes in, some like 22-year-old kid or whatever, who's got like these 16 diagnoses, like antisocial personality disorder, polysubstance use, bipolar disorder, major depression. You can't have both of those.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, what's wrong with this person? This person just has a laundry list of diagnoses, ADHD too. And she said something. Can I use profanity here?
Absolutely.
So she said, there's a kid with shit life syndrome.
Uh-huh.
And I thought it was one of the most eye-opening
Yeah.
diagnoses because you can slap all these labels, but, this is a kid who, I remember one kid was defecating in places that they weren't supposed to in the school.
Uh-huh.
And, like, kids don't normally do that, right? Like, they don't just take a dump where they're not. Like, there's something really going on where this kid was not socialized properly. Like, they don't know how to plan for the future. They don't even think about the future. And speaking of why do people gamble so much, it's because money is something that's in a bank account. It's just some number somewhere.
Yeah.
It's theoretical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, especially if you've got ADHD, like people with ADHD have temporal myopia, which means that they have difficulty like looking into the future. So they just think in the now. They can't like calculate actions in the future.
Yeah.
So they'll take the immediate gratification over the delayed gratification every day of the week, and that's because their brain literally cannot calculate the benefit of waiting.
I think that's probably right. I mean, I think that there's also like, I think everybody does that sometimes, but it's like a difference between like doing it sometimes and making it a pattern of behavior that is just like corrosive to your life. And I think that does happen probably with a lot of people. But you're totally right that a lot of the people that are like super hostile about things online, if you look into like where are they coming from, like I'll have this happen. I'm sure you guys have had it happen too, where like somebody will make a mean comment or like they'll say something totally crazy and then they'll reply back, 2 days later, sorry, man, like I had some big issue happen,
Yeah.
like or whatever. Yeah, it happens all the time. And it's like, it's hard to know like what to do with that because like as a content creator, it's like, is it okay to treat somebody like a punching bag? No, but this is the situation you're in as well.
Yeah. I have a couple of buddies where like they're super kind, like happy people the majority of the time, and then randomly like this real ugly side will like come out that just seems like so foreign to who they are. And I was talking to a couple of them, and both of them had like family issues. So then I was like exploring that, and then eventually I met their family, and the real like ugly side that comes out of them was like the direct behavior of the way that their parents treated them, which was insane because I was like, oh my God, I get why this happens now. Is that like a common thing where like you pick up a lot of negative traits from your family, or is that like not?
100%, like 110%. Like I have, so I have kids. And so one of the funniest things is like when my daughter was 2, my older daughter, my grandmother, like I don't know if y'all have seen like old people like get up and sit down. You know how they make noises when they get up and sit down?
Yep.
Sure.
Like you
Yeah.
know, like and so like my 2-year-old started making these noises.
Oh
Like every
my
time she would sit up and she'd
Yeah.
like grunt, and I was like, "What is going on?" And then I realized, oh, she's like doing what her
Yeah.
great grandmother does, which
Right.
is. And so we learned this. What's really terrifying is when I see this. I don't know if y'all have seen like Raised by Narcissists or Raised by Borderlines.
I've
They're the-
seen it.
No, I haven't.
Or I've
that
Subreddit?
sounds awesome.
I've
Yeah,
seen
like
the
subreddits,
stuff about it.
communities, like the
Yeah.
community, like support communities of people who have like narcissistic or borderline parents. And if you
Yeah.
look at those posts, they're very narcissistic. Right?
Really?
They're like, oh my God, like what they'll do is they'll post about how like
Yeah.
like their parent is such an awful person. They did this, and there's no other side of the story.
Right.
It's
of course.
all like this person has victimized me, and then of course it's a support community, so everyone's like, yeah, screw them, right?
Yeah. How could they do that to you?
Right. And
Exactly.
but it's really scary because like if you get raised by narcissistic parents, you are going to think the same way,
Yeah.
right? And so it's really scary. But yeah, I mean, we inherit so much from our parents.
What do you think about like obviously you know like younger people getting on the internet, especially like kids and like social media, overall positive or overall negative? You know, people under 18, let's say. What do you think?
So let me ask you a question in return.
Okay.
Is harnessing nuclear energy overall positive or overall negative?
Depends on if the reactor blows up.
What do y'all think?
I would say negative.
Emmy?
I would say it can be used positively, but there will be negative effects.
So I think that's where we are with technology.
Mm-hmm.
So right now what's happened is that technology has expanded without any sort of checks or balances. And we're seeing this a lot with like OpenAI and ChatGPT, where OpenAI shows up and they actually have a lot of good ethical safeguards
Yeah.
with ChatGPT.
Yeah, they do.
Now the problem is that all of the big dogs that are competing with them are like, oh crap, we're behind. And they're actually firing their ethics
Let's
staff.
get rid of those safeguards and holding us back. Yeah.
So we kind of see this in the platform wars, where like now, like let's say YouTube is competing with Twitch, Google is competing with Amazon,
Yeah.
right? Is competing with like Apple is competing with Tencent, TikTok, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And the thing is, like, they're fighting for your attention, and no matter who wins out of them, there's definitely one loser.
Yeah.
Right? So whether YouTube Shorts pulls me away from TikToks, I'm still not getting my homework done.
Uh huh.
And so I think what we're seeing is that technology has advanced so rapidly that we don't have the right safeguards, and so we're starting to see a lot of negatives. But I'm one that's sort of kind of thinking like we have to kind of move forward. I think that we should overhaul our education system in the same way that like, you know, we don't need to memorize a bunch of stuff because we have information at our fingertips.
Yep. Yep.
And so
Won't
there's-
have a calculator in your pocket. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, dude,
Right?
I've talked about this so much. I 100% agree.
So I mean, I think it's kind of like weird, but I think that we should really start to rethink education with like, okay, what if you have AI tools instead of banning AI?
Right.
It's like let's change a little bit. If we have AI as the human race, like what can we do with that? Like everyone's worried about it replacing particular jobs.
Yeah.
But my thought is like, you know, how can we run with it? Because I think we're going to have to. And the more that we learn to like adapt to it, I think is really what we need.
I completely agree with you because the truth is that it's like what you're saying with the platform rules and like the other AIs is that like, for example, we might have ethical standards, but the people that don't, there's a reason why like they're going to outperform, right? It's the same with like AI art. It's like you can say, oh, well, we're not going to use this. Well, whenever other people use it and they outperform you, and then there's a free market and then people choose the better alternative because of something that you could say is unethical, does it really matter? Well, I don't know. Are people still buying Nike shoes? Looks like people don't give a shit. So that's what I think is that you have to adapt. You can't just like try to hide something in the dark and pretend like it's not real. I think that's what's happening with a lot of AI stuff. But I think you're also totally right that it's advancing so fast. And like, did you see the TikTok hearing, the congressional TikTok hearing?
Yeah.
But does TikTok access the Wi-Fi? Like,
What?
yes. So it's like I feel like the governmental.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
you guys should have seen that. The governmental apparatus is like it's just so far behind from like technology. It's awful, and especially whenever you see. I'm sure you've looked into this too. Is like these AI tools that they have for mental health. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of hype around AI.
Okay.
And I think that there are AI tools for mental health. I saw someone recently was like, filed a lawsuit because an AI did not treat someone who was suicidal appropriately or something
The
like
global warming thing.
No, someone.
Oh,
I guess
another one?
someone was like
Okay.
talking to some kind of AI chat, like support chatbot,
Yeah.
and they ended up committing suicide.
Oh my god.
And so someone's like,
Oh, I had heard about, I don't know if this was the same case, but apparently like an AI, like there was a person talking to it and saying like, oh, well, I feel really bad. And they were talking about like the environment, and they asked the AI, if I killed myself, would it be better for the environment? The AI said yes.
oh yeah, maybe that one.
Yeah, that could have been the same one, or it could have been another one.
Yeah.
Bro, what?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's like where there are a lot of people who think that AI can substitute for a lot of things, but I think AI is just the next version of a calculator,
Right.
right? So it can be used to extend what human beings are capable of.
It's a tool rather than a replacement.
The other thing that I'm starting to wonder is, I'm kind of curious what y'all think.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that human beings like need to work anymore.
I totally agree.
In what context?
It's like in 30 years, there is no way that it will still be a social expectation to have a job. There's no way. Unless you have like neo-feudalism or something like that.
Well, because like this is what I was kind of wondering, right? With like hydroponic farming and like
Yeah.
AI-based stuff, and even I think so. If you look at like content creators, I think part of the reason that content creators have become a thing is because I'm starting to think that entertainment is actually the most important thing that human beings can do.
The problem is, I think I agree to that because I'm a content creator. I don't think I would agree with that if I wasn't. That's my problem right now. Because I've thought the same thing, because all of my friends, I've like convinced them to do entertainment shit instead, and they're doing great. But I'm not sure that's just because that's all I know.
I believe it is actually education, shelter.
No, that's my problem.
Well, I mean, what I'm wondering is like, do we need? Because before, why did you need a job? Because the human race required that the majority of humans like contribute meaningfully to society. Right, but now, like, I'm just starting to wonder: do we need the majority of human beings to contribute meaningfully to society? Or
Absolutely not. I really don't think so. Have you seen that automated McDonald's? It's in like Fort Worth.
I knew you were gonna talk about that.
Yeah. No, there's like a completely fully automated McDonald's, and I think there's like one person there that like maintains it. So it's like what happens whenever that happens to every McDonald's and every Taco Bell and every Wendy's and every.
They do it
KFC,
at Chipotle. They
right?
won't fuck up your order.
Yeah, true. And so
they may still run out of steak, though.
it's
He knows.
yeah, he does. Well, they ran out of cheese the other day. You can believe that. It's
Holy
nuts.
shit.
Yeah, it made me so mad. But yeah, no, I totally and brown rice too. Same time.
They ran out of cheese at Chipotle.
That's crazy.
These guys, man, they are just chilling.
Are you sure someone isn't screwing with you, man?
I
How do you
mean,
run out of
they
cheese at a Mexican fast food place?
Yep, they sure are. They had queso, so I was able to kind of make it work, but it was a bit weird.
Don't they just have sacks of stuff in the fridge?
Yeah, but then they got to get it out of the fridge, and then they got to get it out of there, and then there's a bunch of other stuff, and it's like they could just sit there on their phone. And so, there's no cheese.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Do you have any idea how many subscriptions you're paying for? I didn't. Well, today's sponsor, Rocket Money, is here to help. Rocket Money is an all-in-one finance platform that helps you save more and spend less. This personal finance app allows you to manage subscriptions, lower bills, build a custom budget, and grow your savings all in one place. I'm using Rocket Money to cancel all of my unwanted subscriptions with just a tap. Rocket Money also alerts me of important changes that impact my credit score and offers insights on ways to improve it. It helps me set budgets by monitoring spending by category and sends me notifications when I've exceeded them. To save more and spend less, join the 3.4 million members using Rocket Money. And I've got the hookup. Go to rocketmoney.com/stake or click the link in the description to get started for free or unlock even more features with premium. That's rocketmoney.com/stake to get started for free. Get your money right.
I've been sitting here thinking in my brain, what job would possibly need a human, or at least the amount of humans that we currently
Well,
have.
like, so entertainment, this is like the really interesting thing, because I'm sure you've seen like the phenomenon with like Neurosama, with like the AI VTuber.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
She's so funny.
So there is an AI VTuber. It was programmed by a person named Beetle. And she's like, of course, your, traditional anime girl. And she is completely AI driven. And she has an audience of thousands of people that watch her every single day.
Average around 4 to 5K.
Yeah. So I wonder, like, how many people are actually going to, like, you have like handmade crafts and things like that have like their own intrinsic value. And I'm wondering if like content creators will go down the same route of having to use intrinsic value of them being not an AI soon.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, so I think one of the things that I am noticing, though, I don't know if you guys have like watched a lot of these like cookie cutter shows. I don't know what else to call them, but like I feel like a lot of shows that get produced are sort of like super formulaic now.
Like
And
what life, like reality type of.
Like I watched like The Diplomat on
The
Netflix. I don't know if
Diplomat.
you guys have seen that, but it's kind of like a sprinkling of like different shows like put together. It's like we're going to take a piece
Okay.
of this, we're going to take a piece of this, we're going to take a piece of this, and then kind of going back to this idea of like the
Yeah.
Dark Souls storytelling. I think that the more formulaic we're getting, I think people are still missing something.
Right.
You can stimulate like dopaminergic circuits and you can have fun, but you don't end up with like a meaningful life, which
Empty
human
calories.
beings, huh?
Empty calories.
Empty calories.
Yeah.
What a great way to put it. So I think societally, like we're just eating a lot of like empty calories right now. As we start to replace like enjoyment, we're replacing meaning with enjoyment.
Right.
And the more that we start to do that, the more we're like filling up on these like spiritually empty calories.
Do you think the AI will get good enough to have it be spiritual too?
Probably.
Oh boy.
But I think that the problem is that the AI, the sensory inputs that the AI can use won't be sufficient for human beings.
Really? Okay.
So like we still need like oxytocin, like we hugged, right? Like that
Yeah.
was meaningful. Like I liked hugging y'all.
Ah,
That was cool.
it's good.
And I think that this is AI can do a lot of stuff, but I don't know that it can deal with the physiology quite yet. I mean, maybe
Mhm.
one day.
Yeah, that's one thing that I always wonder about, right? Because like you'll watch shows like Sword Art Online or Overlord, where it's like you're in this fantasy, completely different world, and it's like a complete neural deep dive. You're in a totally different world, and like you're not moving your arms around like it's a Wii or something like that. You're just in that world, and like how far away is that? It's like, is that ever going to happen? Because like at that point, I think like all bets are off, because I don't know how people are even going to respond. It's so hard to even know.
I think we're seeing the effects of it now.
Really?
Like there's like a dating crisis going on.
Is that real?
Oh yeah.
Oh, people were dating, like there was this one AI, it was called Replica, and people were dating their AIs, and the AI was even being marketed as a dating app. And people were making like posts about how they were in love with their AI and all kinds of stuff like that. It's like really getting nuts.
Is that the app also where they ended up like cutting that off? And
Yep,
so
they
it's
had to
like
completely cut
they
it
had
off.
these AI characters that they fell in love with, and then the app was like, we're not doing that anymore. So it's like the person just like died, basically. They just like took it away.
Yeah, so I imagine the grief that the human being who uses the app feels is probably real.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's actually freaky.
Yeah, I mean, like it's weird because I do think that there is a dating crisis with that kind of stuff too. Because like also people have like a completely different like viewpoint. It's like if a girl goes on stream without makeup, people lose their minds. don't
Oh
they?
my god.
It's nuts, and it's like they don't know this. Oh, this was, oh my god. So I'm gonna use the same example. You're not gonna like this, but we're gonna use the AI cosplayer, and
Oh, but
somebody.
it's just funny. He just brings
So,
it up all
so
the
somebody
What is
went and said that there was this AI cosplayer girl, and they said that it was unrealistic because her boobs were two different sizes. Can you believe
What do you mean an AI cosplayer girl?
What
I'm
I
s-
mean?
Have you not seen like AI generated pictures?
Yeah.
So it's like a AI generated character that looks kind of like a human.
I'm
But is it supposed to? Is it an AI generated picture of what's supposed to be a human?
Right there.
like that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
And they're just a bit better than that, a little bit more realistic, so like, touched
Yeah,
up a
that
bit.
one's not super realistic.
So, and you'll have people in the comments of these these types of posts being like, "Wow, you're so beautiful. Please message me," and they don't even know that it's AI. So it's like you have a point now where the like actual like human asymmetries, right, of like having different sized boobs or something like that. People are so conditioned to like anime and like AI and like all these like fake things that if they see something real, they think that it's fake.
Yeah.
I thought every girl's boobs were different size.
I mean, I think there's probably a spectrum, but yeah, that's what I'm saying is like,
Generally
Oh, okay.
it's
speaking,
normal.
like
Yeah.
most human beings, like even if you look at your right hand and your left
Yeah.
hand, chances are
Yeah.
they'll be asymmetric.
Everyone's
Oh my God, this one's the wrong way.
So like even if you hold your hands out in front of you, one of your arms will be longer than the other.
Oh yeah. Mm.
So asymmetry is like pretty normal.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
There's just a lot of stuff that people don't.
So do you think that's gonna have like a bigger impact than people realize, like with the AI and the dating apps and like people getting so attached to that kind of stuff? 'Cause
Well,
I'm
so I
actually
mean,
really curious what you think.
I think the AI dating stuff is probably a consequence of a larger problem,
Okay,
right? So like there's a dating crisis. I'm not just talking about AI.
it's a symptom, not the disease.
It is a symptom that will probably turn into a disease.
Oh, good.
Is what I would say. So
Okay.
so this is what we kind of know about coping mechanisms. So
Yeah.
like, let's say I'm depressed and I start playing video games.
Uh huh.
And so at that point, it's a symptom,
Right.
right? It's like I'm using this as an escape from my life. But if I play enough video games, that my depression, if there's an organic depression that's underneath, that may have gone away, but the video games will continue the cycle. So
Yeah.
then it can sort of get a life of its own,
Right.
which is sort of what we see. But what I'm talking about is like, so you just talk to like people, like it's hard, apparently Tinder's a mess. Like people, the number of people who are single is going up.
Yeah.
I think people meme about incels and stuff, but I think that like that number is rising.
I've seen the graphs.
I think like 50% of people between the ages of 18 and 30, I think, are single, which I think is an all-time high. I don't remember the exact statistic.
I wouldn't be surprised.
People are some of the stats have to do with like sexual relations and things like that, where like there are more virgins who are older.
Yeah.
But I think something about the way that we interact with each other online is making it like hard to meet in person and sustain relationships.
It's like cannibalized real life.
Yeah.
What do you think the resolution to that is?
I mean, y'all tell me. Like, what's y'all's dating like?
For me, I'm single, and to be honest, my problem is I always thought that like life was better if you were in a relationship, but it's actually really fun to just not have a person. It's weird to say it like that. It sounds really cope. Like I can just do whatever all the time.
I think it depends, right? There are times where you wish you were in a relationship, times where you're glad you're not, right? I think it's the same with almost anything. But, it's like, in general, like, I've always said no mere mortal can live with Asmongold, and I think that's pretty much fucking true.
Oh,
But
fuck, bro.
what?
That's fucked, but damn.
But I mean, you never been to my house though, and so yeah, I mean, I live like kind of a degenerate, but overall, I mean, most people are pretty much not that way. But I think it's a matter of if I wanted to improve that, I could improve that. I could work harder to do that. And I think what the problem is with a lot of people is that they feel like they can't improve it. They're like stuck in a position where they weren't popular in high school, they didn't go to a good college, they don't have a good job, they're not successful, and so you're in like this perpetual cycle of being lesser or being not as valid as you want to be. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people. That's why you see so many incels and people that just completely check out of society. What do you think of me?
I think also with being online, you're presented with so many more like options, and like you see so many different things. Like I know this is like an issue people have talked about, like with people that watch porn in relationships, like where they like won't want to be with their partner as much because they'll like see so much and then they'll like lose attraction to their partner. I think that's a thing.
It
Like,
1,000,000% is.
Yeah, so like I feel like when you're someone who's online and you're like seeing all these people every day, like attractive people, or like seeing all these different things about relationships, it makes you maybe less likely to like pick one person and invest in it, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I think we see a lot of that. So there's all kinds of weird stuff going on. So with all these like Instagram filters and stuff, I think body dysmorphia is on the rise on an astronomical level. I think I suspect that men have, so traditionally women have had more body dysmorphia than men have.
Yeah.
But I think that that's actually like dudes are catching up.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like guys feeling like they're not, like, bro, if you don't have a six-pack, if you're not ripped, if you don't have a good hairline, that kind of stuff, you don't have a good jawline. Like I see these videos about like, like how to fix your jawline, and it has like 7 million views, something like that. It's massively popular.
So I even suspect that a fair amount of incels. So incels are 8 times more likely to be on the autism spectrum than the regular population.
Uh-huh.
And I suspect that a lot of male body dysmorphia is actually at the root of like being incels. But I think that in terms of dating and stuff, I think it's just hard because, like Emmy's kind of saying, you know, there's just so much stuff out there, and people are not willing to, like back in my day, like you kind of like rolled the dice. Like you didn't get a bunch of chances. So you kind of throw in with someone and then, you know, the whole, I mean, I'm sure divorce is high amongst my like people my age as well, but it was sort of like you don't really know what you're getting. And then there's this idea right now where I think a lot of people are looking for the right thing.
Yeah, they're trying to like find the perfect thing. And
Right.
I mean, when you're on Twitter, you scroll past like 5 women that are like 10 out of 10s, and you're just like, well, shit. Like, I'm just waiting for that.
And the dating apps, this is the big like irony of dating apps, right? So what the dating app said is that, hey, it's so hard to find the right person in the real world. We can do a bunch of stuff for you and find the right person, exactly what you're looking for. Because before you had to settle for 1 out of 300 people. But now that there are 30,000, 300,000 people, you can find the perfect person for you. And kind of what I think people are missing out on is that like success in a relationship isn't about finding the right partner. It's about like two people becoming the right partners.
Yeah,
You
like
kinda,
no one will be like exactly perfect, and you won't be exactly perfect for anyone.
It is so hard because for me, my father was divorced like 7, 8 times. So I never knew what a good relationship looked like, right? And I was in a relationship for 10 years, and for 7 years, we were both like normal people. We just like did our thing, we grinded, we were good. And then all of a sudden, I blow up out of nowhere on the internet, and then my life completely changes, whereas my wife's life was like the same. And it was so hard to like connect those, because it kind of is like when you get into a relationship, things work out when you're both headed down the same path, but the moment there's like curves on one, if like you can't adapt to the other person, oh my God, it was like the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life. It was so hard. So like I realized that like relationships and even friendships are all about like compromising. It's kind of like the same thing that I learned from like VR chat players. Like when I'm in VR chat, things are really good. And like, you know, my old VR chat friends were there, but the moment I don't want to play VR chat anymore, there's a big chance they're not going to want to leave that. So it's like, I learned that, do you think it was like a term called like parallel relationships? Is that like a thing? Where it's like, if two people are on the same track, it's going to be pretty damn easy to be friends.
Symbiotic?
I'm not sure. But then the moment that like one starts to go in a different direction, it loses a lot of convenience and it becomes ridiculously hard.
It sounds like it makes sense.
Yeah.
If it's not a thing, I think you've just discovered something.
Yeah, it's like, I guess it's like, you know, when you and your buddies are leaving class, and then the conversation's great. You could walk with them to their class and then go to yours, but you're probably not gonna fucking do that. You're just gonna go to the next class.
A lot of friendships are based off of convenience. I mean, I had the same thing happen like whenever I was dating this last girl, and like whenever we first started dating, she was popular and she was getting like 2,000 or 3,000 viewers, and like I was getting like 8,000 viewers, and it was like this is like kind of like normal. And then my stream completely blows up. I'm doing really well, and it did change the dynamic of the relationship.
Yeah.
It was weird, and it's like now like you can never. It's kind of like a weird thing for me, right? You can never go back and put the genie back in the bottle, right? Because like now everybody that knows me in the context of Asmongold, the very popular streamer, right? There can never just be Asmongold who lives at his mom's house who plays World of Warcraft all day, you know. And so it's like it's weird because
isn't that the really popular? I thought that was.
Well, yeah, but he didn't have the stream, you know. That's the difference. But yeah, not much has changed. But yeah, I mean, it's just. And it is weird to like go back and like try and do that because, you know, personally, I would want to date like another girl that was like a streamer or something like that because it's something that I also like doing. And so if you were going and you were not doing any of that stuff, it would be really hard, like Tectone said, because it's like now you're doing something that's totally like at odds with each other, right? Two people are.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It sounds super hard. I think another big thing is that, you know, I think people are afraid to waste time. So I hear a lot about people, you know, like, I don't know if this person is the right person. Like, I don't want to spend these years. Whereas, like, when I was growing up, you sort of didn't have a choice, right? I think there's this idea that
it
you
is
can
what
always
it is.
meet someone else out there. And you know, what it felt like to me was that, you know, you sort of had to make it work. Like, so coming from this culture of arranged marriages.
Yeah.
It's really interesting talking to my parents about it. And I almost wonder whether arranged marriages should make a comeback.
And were your parents, they were arranged?
No, so that was very scandalous because my dad was
Really?
of one caste and my mom was of another caste, and then my
And
grand.
what does caste mean?
So in Indian culture, there are
That's
like
still
four.
a thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, sort of. Less so now, but so there are like four castes. There's like, and it's like kind of social stratification basically. So my dad was from the priest caste, my mom was from the merchant caste, and then there's like the warrior caste, which are like the nobles basically.
This is so cool. I've never heard of this ever.
And then
Brahmin, right?
yeah, my dad was a Brahmin.
Yep.
And then there's the laborer caste. And so my dad, when he was like, he went to my grandmother, and he was like, I met this girl, and then when she found out that she was of a different caste, she's like, you're not marrying her. And then he said, that's fine, like because I guess you have to have parental approval back in 1950 in India.
That's what it is.
But 1970s actually. And then, but he was like, y'all you get to decide if I'm gonna marry her, right? If you say no, but I'm certainly not gonna marry anyone else. So either I'm not gonna be married or it's her. So he kind of played Chad Chicken.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
So they ended up getting married, and
Wow.
and then they had me.
I mean, I guess you're right, because like an arranged marriage, like it sounds pretty bad, but you gotta imagine you don't have to worry about going out on dates. You don't have to worry about finding anybody else. Like you don't have to worry about, is this the right person? It doesn't matter. This is who it is. Problem solved.
Yeah, and I think there's this idea that you make it work. So I think like what I hear from people is like, if it's not working, I'm gonna find something better, as opposed to being made to make it work. And nowadays, by the way, people in arranged marriages, they still go on dates. So like things have advanced.
That's probably good.
Now it's actually a little bit, it's almost like, in America, it's like you date for a while and then you meet the parents.
Yeah.
In India, it's just the other way around. You meet the parents first and then you start dating.
Okay.
And then if it works out and y'all like each other, then you get married.
Wow.
So they just flip it around.
That's interesting. Yeah, I had no idea that was even a thing, but yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Matchmakers are making a comeback in the U.S., actually.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh my
I
God.
hear about this stuff.
Wow.
And not just for, like, people who are, like, East Asian or South Asian.
Yeah, yeah.
Apparently there are, like, matchmakers and stuff, like, out in South Beach and...
Okay, so this kid mentioned that he didn't know what a caste system was, and it's so weird because he's actually extremely smart. But I think that's the sort of information that they teach you in like the 3rd or 4th grade that most of the country's kids might actually know. And why I despair of this a little bit is it's weird because one of the things that attracted me to this podcast was that they all, well, especially Asmongold and especially Emaru, are extremely smart. They're like very smart individuals, and so is the other kid too. But I've heard him say some pretty scarily dumb things, like never hearing of a caste system. That's indicative a little bit more of American laziness, maybe not reading so many books, maybe not knowing so much about the world around you, maybe never traveling or reading other spiritual documents besides the Bible, perhaps maybe never having any Hindu friends, no Hindu influences like Gandhi, never seen the movie Gandhi. The nouveau riche ignorance is strong, and I speak like a superior even though I'm not. I don't have the kind of money this man has or the same kind of life or success or any of that stuff, but some of the things are a little cringe. When he's like, I've never heard of a caste system before, because it's weird. You actually do hear about it quite a lot. A child interested in apiary, which is beekeeping, right? They might hear about caste systems because bees run in a caste system. Ants run in caste systems. Humans run in caste systems. America is an entire caste system. And I believe it is actually taught in most schools around the 3rd or 4th grade. And I wonder sometimes if they might be too zonked out on Game Boy or something that year. I mean, I'm sure I was too. But like honestly, anybody interested in governmental systems at all is gonna know about caste systems and how they work. And it was frankly a little bit, his ignorance about it was frankly a little bit like despairing to me, because I think he's trying to sit in this intellectual role. But I mean, that's a pretty base one. I'd say like a fifth grader might know, unfortunately. At least in the places where I come from. I know when they were coming up, that they were exposed to shitty public schools and stuff, and you know, so was I. But and yeah, it just sucks though, because I think I see these people kind of masquerading as the more smarter people of the internet, the more intelligent people of the internet, but they say things that make me despair sometimes a little bit. Not all of them. Like Emery has not done it ever. You can tell she's just young, but I think there's a Yoko Ono brain in there, and I think she's very, very, very probably like very intelligent. And I don't think the caste system thing was a surprise to her at all. Or Asmongold, you know, that we all know about the caste system. It's actually one of the more tragic things about European culture, anyways, is, or whatever you want to call it, African culture. I suppose I don't know what India is supposed to be considered. It's, I believe, African, isn't it? I don't know. But anyways, maybe that's Europe. I don't know what they consider it, but Mediterranean, I don't know. But either way, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit brain dead, and I'll get off the stream soon. I'm definitely brain dead, more brain dead than him. He's definitely doing better than me. But I will say that, like, man, not knowing a caste system kind of implies that you never had any interest in ants. You never had any interest in bugs or bees. You might not know that much about animal systems. You might not know much about foreign politics or foreign governmental systems. You might not know that much about foreign legislature and foreign foreign institutional things such as governmental rights and what has to do with stuff like money systems and such as capitalism or even communism. And a little bit of an ignorance when it comes to theosophy and philosophy, and perhaps a little bit ignorant about like world history, because you would know about this because of Gandhi, or if you've ever had a Hindu friend, or if you've, I don't know, if you just if you've ever been fascinated with Hindu culture at all, you would know what a caste system is. That's actually a fairly common word in. That's weird because I feel like I hear a radio going in the background. I'm gonna kill the music for a second. Oh, I think somebody's outside just talking is what it is. Sorry. So, yeah. So, like, I don't know. It's a little despairing to me. I mean, I don't know. If you want to rise, I guess these are gamers. And they fancy themselves nerds. And this guy's smart. I bet he'd probably kick my ass at chess. He's a smart man, maybe a genius. But there's some ignorance there that makes me despair a little bit. And I'm sorry, it's not like I'm trying to be critical of him. It's probably really hurtful what I'm saying, but it made me despair a little bit that he didn't know what a caste system was, because it's one of the more dominating things in the fucking world. It's if one of my friends had said something ignorant like that, I would have immediately launched into like a fucking 10-minute lecture with like video aids and documentaries and stuff, and informed her what a caste system was, because I felt like, and then I would know the reason why he never had ever heard of it. Because I think most educated individuals, even in public school, maybe would have known about it. And I'm sorry, this behavior, it's not just him. Sometimes you hear it out of them too. And I'm sure I say stupid shit that I'm ignorant of all the time, but not about stuff like that. I don't think. Not about simple stuff like caste systems and stuff. Usually you're going to hear about caste systems in the second or third grade when they talk to you about the judicial, legislative, and executive branches of the American government. they're gonna mention the two other ways that government kind of manifests in that time in that cell, usually around the 3rd or 4th grade. It's kind of a you don't know jack question, but what is a caste system? It's a series of government having to do with your societal rank and value, sussed out by a predetermined system determined by birth. And so if you're born into the lower class, you cannot become the king of India. It's impossible. Not in their system. You can't do it. They don't want Trumps. They've never wanted Trumps. Their worst idea, the reason they have the caste system, their worst fear is that somebody like Trump or Hitler or even the British people who oppressed Gandhi and all this, the country of India that Gandhi fought against, like they were terrified that some idiot would take over their country, because it kind of did happen. And thank God for Gandhi, somebody with some actual fucking intelligence who came along and started to show them that like maybe these times of your fate being predetermined by the government before you were ever even born is maybe not so acceptable anymore. I don't know if India's trying to cast off that yoke, but I hope they are. Caste systems are something that you'll see in mainly bugs. And it happens in nature too, where like usually it denotes what your job is for your entire life, which is what we... I hear like a secondary music source coming from somewhere, and it's freaking me out. I can't hear over the music that keeps playing. I'm just gonna... No, it's the song in the game, never mind. So, what was I going to say? So caste systems are kind of depressing, because when you're born in them, you can't get above your station. So there was no way that like Trump would ever be, Trump could fall to a lower, it's possible to fall in a caste system down to the lower class, but I don't believe it's possible to rise in a single lifetime. Your family must prove to the community that you have money, and that you have worth, and that you have vassals and people that look up to you, and the community will vouch for you, and your sons and daughters are married to the other like better middle class people in the system, and all this. And then eventually, if your father and you and your son and your son's son and your son's son's son work really hard for all of their lives and save every penny and never commit a crime and never embarrass their family or dishonor anybody, they might be able, if they're given the permission by the upper class, they might be able to take an estate somewhere a little bit nicer than the bazaar or downtown, and slowly over another 5 or 6 generations eventually become blue bloods and royals, until either they fall from grace in some way, or are, well, mainly it's they dishonor. The family ever experiences dishonor, they are expelled out of the current caste system that they're in. If it's the upper class, I believe they're removed to the lower class. If they're in the middle class, I believe they're removed to the lower class. Either way, if you commit dishonor, or you assassinate somebody, or you steal, or you're dishonorable in their community, they don't truck with idiots who just stepped in right off, like rich white off the boat, rich man's son, senator's son, like Trump. They don't truck with people like that, because they have too many people. If an idiot like Trump runs them into the ground, that'll kill their country. They have too many people. They have to feed so many people that any imbalance at all in that kind of crazy demagoguery or whatever is entirely anathema to them. They would have rather submit to British rule in the reality that order would be maintained than to let the mob rule. And this was a problem in India, I think, for a little while. Maybe I'm misquoting it, but I believe that was kind of the thing, until Gandhi just not peacefully, non-violently resisted to the point where the British felt that it was like immoral for them to even be there anymore. It just wasn't their country, and they weren't really, like, they were friends, but they weren't really friendly. They hated each other. So now it depresses me that an American child, and this kid is like younger than me, he's like 7 years younger than me or something like that, he's about Asmongold's age. It doesn't despair me, but it causes me a bit of despair deep in my soul that American children might not know this stuff, because to some of the rest of the known world, the most populated country in the world lives under this system. It's kind of like not knowing what communism is, or not knowing what... It's really a lot like that, actually. It's like not knowing what communism is. This kid might not know what communism or socialism is either. I don't know what his intelligence says now. I kind of question it a little bit. But, like, you know, I know he's smart. He said so many smart things so far. He's extremely emotionally intelligent. But I despair, not because he doesn't know what a caste system is. It's that it's dangerous that he doesn't know. It's dangerous to America that he doesn't know what a caste system is. And you hear him say something so ignorant and so dangerous and so disheartening. It's kind of like, what's communism? You know, and you're like, oh, really? You know, you've been yelling at it about it for years. And so the same class struggles that he's facing in America, where he just went from lower class. Oh, well, he was probably more. He strikes me as a middle class boy. He went from like lower mid. Well, no, his parents were probably always middle class, like probably normal middle class. He went from normal middle class to, like, not overnight, but in like a 10-year period, he experienced immediate wealth and immediate interest and some fame. And this is the mark of a truly intelligent person, I would say. I would not say this is a dumb guy. But some of the things he's said has definitely engendered some fucking fear and just remorse and just some disgust and despair a little bit. It's like loathing. It's not towards him. It's the loathing of the ignorance. If this is the American child right now, we're talking about a man who's 33. If this is the American child, his generation is essentially running the world right now. I mean, really it's mine, but but they're the ones who are going to take the crown here in the next like 5 years. They're already fixing to do it in the streaming scene. They're ready to take over and be the boomer dads, and I'll be 40 in about 5 years and stuff, and take over the known world like we just did. And so I think that, you know, and now our parents are about to die, but their parents aren't dying yet. They've got another probably good solid 30 years out of their parents and stuff. I've got a good solid 20. So I don't know if they live that long. So it's like a bit different for each generation and stuff. But they say something so morbidly, what's the word? I'm sorry, but it's feckless and dangerous and morbidly just like sort of ill. I don't know what you would call it. It's ignorant. And you think this guy is attempting to be a voice of reason on the internet, a voice of emotional intelligence and representing nerds and geeks, but he doesn't know about one of the most basic governmental systems of all time, which worries me that they're about to take over the world. If they don't even know what a caste system is, I don't want them running the country. If our educational system failed them this badly, that they don't know what a caste system is, I really don't feel that they should take over and become the rich people who sway all the clout and take over the intelligentsia scene and tell the college kids what to think and run the country and all this stuff. I really don't want them to. If they don't know what a caste system is, it's so ignorant. It's kind of like saying, I don't know what communism or socialism is. It's a little scary to me. It makes me despair about our future when they say things like that, and I catch his generation doing it all the time, and it's not their fault. It's this fundamental like breakdown in the educational system during the charter schools push, as well as like Google supplying them all of their information. So it's okay for him to not know what a caste system is. We covered this earlier tonight. It's okay for him not to know. It's okay. I'm not tripping on him about it. It's fine. We're not all perfect. I probably didn't even give that good of a definition myself, I'd imagine. I'm just talking about how that not knowing that is particularly scary to me out of someone that I think is trying to represent the nerds of the world. At least he was smart enough to ask the question. But frankly, I knew what a caste system was, and granted, I went to a better school than he did. But like, I knew I would have known what a caste system was in the second grade of, and I mean, I was by the time I was in the 5th grade, I was in public school like him, and I still would have known what a caste system was. And this bothers me a lot. I hear them say ignorant things like this, and I think, oh no, these are the guys I'm about to basically bow out and give the world to here in about 7 years, something like that. They don't even know what a caste system is. The world powers will eat them alive. It's like that statement I make on the stream all the time. This kid probably got eaten alive in high school, and it shows when they say stuff like, oh no, I don't know what a caste system is. You're like, oh boy, buddy, that comes up in nature a lot. That one's kind of a common one. Now, I mean, I guess it is kind of a nerdy thing, but I mean, if you want to even be talking about politics, I would say you should know what the basic governmental systems even are. So I don't ever want to hear this guy talk about politics ever again after he dropped the caste bomb, you know? He's not a bad person. Ignorance doesn't make you a bad person, no. Actually can often actually help you, frankly. But like, it's still unacceptable. It's unacceptable from the community. I look at this podcast as essentially not the liberals, but the intelligentsia of these. It's some of the intelligentsia, like people like Hassan or Hassan would literally be so pissed just yelling at him, I think. And I think I would be too, kind of. I'd be like, you don't know what a fucking caste system is. It's like, frankly, a little bit insulting. You don't belong in the intelligentsia scene. You don't belong representing nerd. And you look like somebody who's faking it to make it. And I think he's got a very good heart and extremely emotionally intelligent. But you'd be surprised how often I can be soured by incompetence in a very, very, very fucking strong way. When I see it, I can't truck with it. I can't roll with it. I see it and I'm like, oh no, we can't. I mean, if this is how bad it was, that the new generation doesn't even know what a caste system is, we can't have them running the world. That's so ignorant of what reality is. It's like not knowing what rain is or something like that. It's scary to me. That one's scary to me. I'm sorry, it is. That kind of ignorance, that's really scary to me. I was looking up to him in terms of his intelligence. I've been looking up to him like for the last 2 days, listening to every podcast that he was on. And he's an extremely smart and extremely emotionally intelligent dude. And I wouldn't want to fight him in chess. I think he'd probably give me a run for my money. But I'm talking about like the true burning need to educate yourself about that stuff in case you ever face it in your fucking real life, like communism maybe, or Nazism, or fucking socialism, or caste systems, or all of the ways that the rich fuckers control this planet on top, you know, like some kind of Rust campaign. They control this planet on top because you don't know what a caste system is. It is sickening to me. Someone should take him to task for it. Asmongold should have said something. It's sad that they have to explain these things to these kids. Because, okay, even if I was in the public schools by the 5th grade like him, and I went back to a private school in the 9th grade because I failed the 8th grade, and I failed the 8th grade, and I still know what a caste system is. You know what I'm saying? I still know what it is. Like, that's very weird to me. Like, you know, that one scares me. If they are this, and now I don't think Asmongold would be that dumb. He wasn't. But, like, really, that's kind of dumb. I look at it like, this guy better not be president. I guarantee you it's a job he would probably take. He'd probably take it. He'd probably be like, yep. And honestly, this could be the president if he continues to just rise meteorically, and he looks less pissy than Asmongold and a lot more emotionally intelligent. One day he probably could run for president if he's never committed any laws on record, right? And so this might be the president one day, and I despair, and I'm going to hit him when they ask him if he feels that he's ready. I'm going to provide some kind of editorial about how I remember about 20 years ago that he couldn't remember what a caste system was. And right now we're in World War IV with, with like Canada, Mexico, and India against China and Russia and the Axis powers and stuff. And we can't have him doing, any sort of foreign stuff like Trump did, or he'll set us back 1,000 years with the Hindus. And I know you guys think it's all cool to just hate on people who don't look like you or whatever the fuck, not you guys, but the veritable racist people of this world or whatever, right? Not everybody's racist at all. I'm not trying to make some sweeping stereotype or whatever. I'm just saying that, like, if you don't know the hardships of the people around you that they don't speak of, like arranged marriages, female circumcisions, the caste system, and to a lesser degree authoritarianism, right? Well, really the same degree. Like this is stuff that you must know if you wish to rep nerd or call yourself an intellectual, or maybe you think because you can beat people in Magic or chess that you're some kind of genius, but genius would never say I don't know what a caste system is. It's unfortunate because that might actually come up. It's not something that's like some archaic, dusty book shit. That shit might come up like communism is right now, or the Israel-Palestine conflict. It might actually come up in the next like 2 to 5 years and shit. I'm serious. If a world war sparks off, caste system might be a problem. You know what I'm saying? It binds their hands in certain ways that their society works. It's not good. It gives the rich complete and utter power over them, and it makes them total tools, and they'll just go to world wars and they'll fight if they have to, because the caste system forces them to, or they can't even get dinner at their own fucking hearth anymore. You know, the caste system is one of the more horrible, in my opinion, one of the more horrible things in the world. It's up there with like, well, female circumcision, the burqa. It's really base shit from like a million years ago that works. It worked then for overpopulation, but right now I'm not so sure it's okay to say that a poor man can't rise up and make enough riches in this world to take care of his family in the middle or the upper class. The caste system dictates that you can't in one lifetime rise to the top, and so these nouveau riche not knowing what a caste system is. Because honestly, I could see that instigated in America in the next 10 years, and them saying, oh, if you were born in the lower class, you aren't coming up here. You aren't coming in LA or New York. You're not a rich person or whatever. I could literally see America pulling that shit. I really could. They basically are. So, like, if you don't know what a caste system is, I don't know if I trust you about anything intellectually. You keep talking about beating people at gaming all the time, but honestly, the people who have to brag about it, in my experience, aren't good. Though the people that brag about it are like, if it's a 1v1, I'd have about 50-50, you know? That's the people who are actually good. The people who are like, beat them all the time, I'm better than you.